Hello, this is my first video podcast. My name is Bishop Christopher Coyne of the Archdiocese of Indianapolis. I'm working on things like lighting and all that. As you can see, I'm not too good at it right now. I'm a little bit using natural light, but it's a little bit paler than I want. But hopefully as I go along, I'll figure out how to do these things. I thought that I'd try a video podcast rather than try and write out all the things that have been happening here on the first couple of days of the Limina Visit to Rome of the bishops of Region 7 in the United States, which is the states of Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Among many kind of important things that took place today, and was the fact that we had our first meeting with the Holy Father this morning, Pope Benedict XVI. He first met with the bishops of Illinois, and then he met with the bishops of Indiana, the 5 ordinaries, including myself, and then 2 retired bishops of Indiana. So there was 7 of us in the room. I'll talk about that in a minute. And but before that, we had an opportunity to begin our visits to the various commissions and congregations in the Holy See and the Vatican, and to talk a little bit about that. But let me just explain what an Ad Limina visit is. It's every 5 years, but sometimes it could take a little bit longer. I think the last time that the bishops of the United States came was at least 6 years, if not 7 years ago. And the idea is that a report is made in each diocese following the kind of strict questionnaire that they send out, looking for statistics on sacraments and priests and finances and schools and education, universities, all those things that go into making up an archdiocese or a diocese. And you put that together and it's sent over to Rome ahead of time, and then you would come over with other bishops and meet with the various heads of the departments or congregations that are responsible for the good order of the church. And you also get an opportunity to meet with the Pope himself and to have a conversation with him, and he can ask you any questions that he may have about the report that you sent over, if he had the chance to look at it, probably not. And also to meet with the other congregations who have had hopefully a chance to read over some of the things that have been reported through your people, through your own diocese, to the Holy See for the good order of everything. It's a little cold here in the Holy City. There's a lot of snow on the ground still, and we're expecting more snow, but they're taking good care of us. I'm staying at the North American College up on the Janiculum Hill, and as you can see, I'm in a nice little apartment and being well taken care of. I got in yesterday, Wednesday, to start the Ad Limina after a long plane flight from Indianapolis, Atlanta to here. Picked up at the airport, kind of got over the jet lag, and started off running right here in Rome. This morning after Mass, we had Mass in St. Peter's very early on. We went to the tomb of St. Peter, where Cardinal George of Chicago celebrated Mass for all of us. There's 28 bishops plus a number of priests that came, and we gathered down right below the main basilica space of St. Peter's in the lower church, surrounded by various tombs of the popes that were down there. We had a nice, short, and wonderful Mass, and celebrated together. It was kind of neat. Various points when we were saying Mass together, there was other groups around in the lower church, a little bit far off, but you could hear them singing their songs, and there were different languages kind of echoing through the space. So at times it was very quiet, and other times you'd hear music and song, mostly without any kind of instruments going on. And, we had an opportunity to kind of reflect upon what it means to be a bishop in this modern day and age, and drawing upon the church's tradition. It was a really kind of special ceremony and special Mass for us. After that, back for a little bit of breakfast, and then at 9:30 we had a meeting at the Commission for the New Evangelization, and the Archbishop, his name, I hope I get to say this right, is Salvatore Fisichella. It's a new commission set up by Pope Benedict XVI for the new evangelization. So we went into the room, and I'll post a picture of it. We went into the room, and all of us were gathered around this table, and he came in with his staff and made a presentation to us about the work of the new evangelization. The Office of the New Evangelization is concerned with a couple of things. First of all, it's an office that's intended by its name to a new evangelization, which is an evangelization to countries that were at one time Christian, in the sense of mostly Christian, mostly Catholic, and also people who bear the name of Christ, who may have been baptized Christian, but have left the faith or have lost the faith. And so the idea is of the new evangelization is for us to reach out to those people who have fallen away, and those countries that have fallen away, and to begin to evangelize the communities and peoples that had been part of our tradition and part of our faith too. And that's also connected with the an evangelization as well, which is still ongoing, which they say in Latin, ad gentes, to all the nations. And so the evangelization work of the church is still to those nations that have never heard the gospel preached to them, so to try and bring Christ to them as well. There was a good discussion around the table from many questions that were asked, especially in light of the fact that there's going to be a synod next fall here in Rome to discuss the new evangelization with bishops and people coming from all around the world to talk about the work that we need to do, and also the year of faith for next year that the Holy Father has put forward as something that he'd encourage all of us to be a part of, which as time goes on, I'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about that in other podcasts. So among other things that I heard that I heard in the discussion, one of the things I thought was really a good point was initiated by one of the other bishops around the table and then picked up by Archbishop Fisichella. He talked about how in order to do the new evangelization and to not only bring people who had left the faith back to Christ and also to evangelize the Western world in a way that we've lost, but also to help people who are accepting the faith to grow in their faith through new catechesis to adults, and that's a great thing. But he said that one of the most important things is to evangelize ourselves. That if I or you are going to be committed to the work of the new evangelization, that we need to be so committed to the person of Jesus Christ and to the church and to the church's teaching, so that there's an authenticity to what we do. So the new evangelization is one that's just not out to others, but it also involves a kind of action towards ourselves as well. So there was a lot there to kind of chew in terms of like food for thought and food for our work together as a church. Following that, we left the Commission for the New Evangelization and made our way to the Vatican Palace, to the Papal Palace, to have an audience with Pope Benedict. We were each invited to bring the one person along with us, and so I brought one of the seminarians from the North American College, Doug Marcotte of Indianapolis. He was able to join us, although he came late. He got my message a little late, and he was supposed to meet us in front of the Christopher Columbus Hotel, but he didn't make it there, so I thought he wasn't going to come. But he ran over to the Porta Santa Ana and managed to convince the Swiss guards that he was my secretary, and he got himself upstairs for our audience. Our audience was a little bit late getting started because we were second. The first group that went in was the bishops of Illinois. And the way it went was we brought upstairs in two different groups, Illinois, bishops of Illinois, and then the bishops of Indiana with our guests. And we were brought up to the floor in which the papal residence, the Pope's residence is, and it brought into various rooms, and I'll post, there's a long hallway and a couple of interesting rooms, which I'll post those pictures as well. And we met, first we were met and we were told, how to behave ourselves. Of course, being from Boston, they probably figured I really needed to have some charm school, as they say, about, the expectation about when we meet the Holy Father, how we were to act. And so we were encouraged to, we were told the best way to greet him, that we were, encouraged to be also relaxed, that he wanted to have a conversation with us. He didn't want us to feel nervous. And then we were to have pictures taken with him, which I did. They didn't allow us to take pictures with our own phones, although I did take a quick one as we were coming into the room, and then we had to put them away. And I was able to introduce Seminarian Doug Marcotte to the Holy Father and get a picture with them, and then they left the room, and then we sat down with the Pope, and he invited each of the 7 bishops from Indiana that were there to speak to him about the work that was going in our area. We could talk about anything, and so some of the bishops talked about the new evangelization, others talked about education. Bishop Daugherty of Lafayette talked about healthcare, without getting into specifics, about kind of staying with the kind of confidential nature of the conversation with the Pope. I talked about the great opportunity that we have in the state of Indiana and in the Diocese of Indianapolis for positive growth, real growth in terms of people coming to our church, because we are such a healthy Catholic community in central and southern Indiana, and how whoever the next archbishop it will be, he has such an opportunity to continue to do the good work that Bishop Beekline did, but also to continue to foster people coming to our faith, to foster the charitable works of the church, but also to do that new evangelization, and also evangelize, to bring people into the Catholic Church, because it is so healthy and we have such an opportunity. I also talked about how I felt that coming from Boston to Indianapolis, how the church in Indiana and the people of Indiana are very very family oriented, very traditional in their outlook, and very conservative in their attitude towards life. How there's an incredible pro-life attitude within the state. How people are so generous and how they do such great works. And again, how anybody who really loves the church and wants to spread the good news could not help but be excited about what's going on in Indiana. And then we got into a really good conversation back and forth with the Holy Father, myself, and the other bishops about the relationship in Indiana between other religions and how we interact with other Christian communities, and how we're working together to try and further the good things of society and the good things of the church. As we left, the Holy Father gave us a blessing, and then he gave each of us a nice little gift. He gave each of the bishops a pectoral cross, a new cross, which I'll take a picture and post, and then also he gave us a number of rosary beads, so I'll be passing that out to some of my family and maybe one or two special friends as things go on. I have my own set that he gave me the last time I was here in September. It was a very special moment to be able to sit down for 20 minutes with him. That's, think about it, that he gave us 20 minutes of his time with all that he has to do, to sit down and actually have a conversation, because he would ask questions, he listened to what we had to say. He was very enthusiastic about the work that's going on in Indiana and in the church, and he encouraged a very, very gentle person too, as well. It was a special opportunity. It's something I never dreamed that I'd have, and it was just a great time and a very wonderful, as we say, awesome moment in Boston for me to be with him and with my brother bishops of Indiana. I'm pretty much done for the day today. They kind of give us a little bit of a break on the first day, but tomorrow in the morning we'll be at one congregation, and in the afternoon we'll be at another, so we've got a pretty full day, along with Mass and in the middle of the day, and all of that. So I'll be doing a podcast tomorrow on this, and I hope this works. I may have to start getting a little bit of makeup or something, like a little bit better, but they say that the camera puts about 10 pounds on you, so maybe that's what's going on. God bless you all. I hope you're enjoying these. I hope you enjoy this first of many podcasts. And this is Bishop Christopher Coyne of the Archdiocese of Indianapolis, wishing you God's blessings, and let us walk always together in faith. Thanks.